Okay, Klasse, guten Morgen, guten Morgen, guten Morgen. So today we're going to be focusing on writing sentences. Okay, now when we're writing sentences, there's a couple main things you have to have, and that's a subject and a verb. Okay, I'm not going to get too grammary on today's topics, but it is important that you know the difference between a subject and a verb. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into this. Wir haben das Wort lesen. So lesen is, when it's in its regular form, looks like this. This right here is actually what they call a conjugation chart. It just means that whenever you say I read, you read, we read, they read, there are some changes that happen. Not so much in English, but if you want to say I read, you would say ich lese. If you want to say you read, you would say du liest. If you want to say he reads, liest, if that by the way, is one person, then that one person gets that. So, for example, Herr Dab liest das Buch means Herr Dab reads the book. We also have wir lesen. Okay, wir lesen. So if we're reading a book, wir lesen das Buch. Ihr liest is you all are reading the book. Ihr liest das Buch. Sie lesen. The big Z right here is for formal people. So, Herr Dab, Sie lesen das Buch gut. Yeah? You read that book well. If you wanted to say they are reading the book well, then you would say Sie lesen das Buch gut. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some of these activities. We'll do a couple of them together. And then what I want you to do is to practice. So you're going to be writing these sentences, and it's just an attempt to kind of make it so it's not so much a worksheet, but it's just a way to change it up a little bit. So for Nummer 1, we see ich lese das Buch, right? Because if I look up here, ich goes with lese. Okay. Now we've got er. Er means he. So if I look up here, I see liest. A little bit tricky writing on these things, Okay, Stan und Jan. Okay, now we have two people. This is a little different. We're going to have to say they read the book. So the word for they is over here. Is sie lesen. So you're going to write lesen. Okay. Then we have wir. Okay, again, with wir, we look at that. That means we. Wir lesen das Buch zusammen. So lesen das Buch zusammen. Okay, the next one we have, I'll do one more with you. This one's a little trickier. This is actually a question. And the question is what are you reading, Herr Dab? Now notice this right here, this capital Z. This is what we use to say, like, when you're talking to somebody that's a little bit higher than you or more formal than you, then you go ahead and use Z. Especially if you're not, like, familiar with that person. It doesn't hurt to say, was lesen Sie, Herr Dab? Okay? Generally, when you're talking with somebody who's older than you, specifically an adult, you would probably use something to that nature. So, what I want you to do now, take one last look at these, and then what I want you to do is go ahead and complete number 1 through 5 and make it tricky by erasing some of this so you don't have the answers. So go ahead and write number 1 through 5 in complete sentences. All right, so now we're going to try and see if we can get this even better. So this is actually numbers 5 through 10, but what I'd like you to do is the same thing. Okay, what I want you to do is write these sentences out completely and put the correct form of lesen in them. Okay, now we are on Schreiben. You can see Schreiben. Oh, wrong one. Need my pen. You can see Schreiben here. Now, Schreiben, obviously, you see the boy. What's he doing? He's writing. So Schreiben is pretty common. People will use Schreiben. And the way that you say I write is you say ich schreibe. It's a little tricky to say. Du schreibst. Sie, es schreibt. And remember, means he, sie means she, es means it. Now, wir schreiben, we write. If I want to say you all write, I would say ihr schreibt. And then if I wanted to say Herr Dab schreiben, so I would say Sie schreiben, Herr Dab. Herr Dab, you are writing. Okay? And then we can also use the little z, that means they. So let's see if we can go through a couple of these together, and then I'm going to have you do some of these on your own. So for Nummer 1, what we're going to be doing is ich schreibe, right? Ich schreibe das Buch. Does that make sense? Yeah, it kind of does. Now, if I want to use and I want to say that he writes the notebook, we're kind of stretching the meaning on this one. But let's say he's writing in the notebook and he wrote some sort of notebook, maybe professing his love to somebody. Schreibt. And that is schreibt das Heft. A little silly still, but we'll let it slide. Stan und Jan, we want to say that both of those guys write the book. So what we're going to be using is this. Sie schreiben. Sie schreiben is they write. So we're going to write schreiben. Okay. And the next one, wir, we're going to use wir schreiben. Okay. You see that word here, wir schreiben. Oh, apologize for the bad writing. Writing on these with this little tiny stylus. It's something else. All right. And the last one we're going to do together is was schreiben Sie? Was schreiben Sie, Herr Dab? Okay, again, we use the Sie formal because when you speak with me, you would use formal. So now the next thing I'm going to have you do is go ahead and do these. So take a second, look over them, look at my amazingly awful handwriting, and then what we're going to do is have you write the first 5 sentences correctly. All right, erase that so you don't have all the clues. Okay, awesome. So go ahead and write 1 through 5 by using the questions in the puzzle. Okay, so now it looks like I'm going to be a little bit in the way for a bit. I'll see what I can do. Okay, that was my child. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep going because I'm already too deep into this to back out. Well, Schreiben, what I'd like you to do is look up here and use these to complete the next questions. Basically, you're going to be writing the sentences and you are going to write them correctly. Okay, so let's see if I can take myself out of this. All right, there you go. And hopefully this helps you. So go ahead and do these 5 sentences. Oh, guten Tag. Well, you made it here. And we're going to learn about time. You might say to yourself, Herr Dab, it's about time, right? Okay, so today we are going to be learning about how to tell time. And just as a refresher, I know that with at least my classes we've had a little bit of a review over it. We're going to continue to review it. And just as a review, note that when you have your minute hand coming over here, we have the word Viertel. That means quarter. All right. The next thing is that when you have the minute hand, going down here. That is going to be nach. Sorry, that's halb. Giving you guys all sorts of information. All right, so there's halb. And there are times that you might use it up here, drei Viertel, in that you want to say 3/4 past 1. You can say that, but it's oftentimes better to say Viertel vor. So if something is at 45, like for example, 1:45, then you would say Viertel vor 2. Viertel vor 2. Now, if you want to say that the time is after, you use nach. If it were 1:15, you might say es ist Viertel nach 1. Okay? Let's look down below and let's see if we can figure out what these mean. Es ist 5 nach 10. Go ahead and answer the question. Es ist 10 nach 7. Remember, nach means after. Es ist Viertel nach 5. Okay, next one. Es ist 20 nach 6. The next one. Es ist 5 vor halb 3. That one's a hard one. I'll help you with this one. 5 vor, so 5 minutes before halb 3. Now remember, when you're using halb, you're using it halfway to 3. I guess we should go the other way. It's halfway to 3 o'clock, which means it would be 2:30. But 5 minutes before 2:30 is 2:25. Good. Es ist 5 vor 10. Es ist 10 vor 7. Next one. Es ist Viertel or 3/4 5. Okay, I don't like that one. I like this one. Es ist Viertel vor 5. It's a little easier. Es ist 20 vor 6. Good. And then we have es ist 5 nach halb 3. So hopefully this helped. Go on to the next activity. All right. So on this one, I'm going to make myself disappear here in a second. But what we're going to do is we're simply going to figure out what time it is. So I'm going to go ahead and review real quick these words. Down here you have vor means before, nach means after, Viertel means quarter, halb means half, or ist o'clock. All right, so let's go ahead and take me away. Take me away. I don't know if that's a song. It could be. So the first one we're going to do is up here. Let's see. Nope, that did not work. Let me try with an orange. That also did not work. So we're going to go like this. Bingo. Okay, Klasse. Wie spät ist es? Okay, next one. We got this one here. Klasse. Wie spät ist es? All right, this next one. Wie spät ist es? Okay, number 4. Wie spät ist es? Okay. Number 5. Wie spät ist es? And lastly, number 6. Wie spät ist es? All right. Well, hopefully you were able to use the times here that are on the thing to help you formulate the correct answer. So have a wonderful day and keep learning about time.